Welcome back to the Sports Max Zone. Comments made by American sprinter Noah Lyles, who won 3 gold medals at the World Athletic Championship in Budapest that ended on Sunday. Well, they continue to be the catalyst for conversation in the sports world. Here is a reminder of what was said and how NBA stars reacted.
We're not inviting top-level athletes to come watch a world championship. You know, the thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S. at times. But that ain't the world. That is not the world. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting, thriving, putting on their flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA.
Yeah. Now, on Monday, we discussed the issue with track and field analyst Leighton Levy. And now we have our NBA expert, Alister Albert, to talk about this topic. Alister, your thoughts on the comments made by Noah Lyles?
First of all, guys, nice to see you guys again. It's been a little while. Hello to the viewers in the region. And, you know, when I saw these comments come up on my social media feeds, I was a bit flabbergasted at first. But it took me a really quick second to kind of realize, you know, he's actually talking absolute sense. I have to talk in staccato here to kind of make sure the point gets across. He's making sense and he's right. And, you know, I think what comes across here is, you know, him just trying to explain, you know, just very technically, very simply, that the NBA, as the acronym implies, National Basketball League, is the National Basketball League of America. Right, so the guys play their championships, they play their competitions, their tournaments, you know, and they crown an NBA champion, and you know that's literally what it is. Evan Fournier was asked after one of his matches in the FIBA World Cup recently, was asked that question, and he said, you know, it's literally just a semantics. Basically, we're talking about the title of what is being bestowed upon the champions of these matchups, and you know it's basically that, you know, it's a national championship for the NBA, and when you play in games like the FIFA World Cup or the FIBA World Cup for basketball, you are playing against other teams from other countries that allows you to determine who is the best in the world. So it's global competition that kind of makes it make sense, you know, to kind of determine who's the best. So I absolutely agree with Noah Lyles. And, you know, the NBA players came out and were a little bit, you know, dismissive of his comments. And I was a bit saddened by that, to be quite honest. But, you know, he makes absolute sense, and I totally agree with him.
Yeah. You say they're dismissing of his comments. They were a little more harsh than that, Alister. They weren't dismissive at all. I thought they were abusive and rude in many instances. And I just want to ask you about the misinterpretation that a lot of the detractors have had to say, because no one is disputing that the NBA is the world's best basketball league and the best players in the world are playing in it. That is not in dispute. The fact is, it is not for the championship of the world. It is, as you said, the National Basketball Association, which is the basketball league of the USA. So you win the NBA and you're champions of the USA and maybe North America, because there are Canadian teams in. So that really is it. So I'm wondering why so many people are missing the point that no NBA championship winning team is a world champion. They are champions of the NBA.
We don't have to look any further than, you know, one of the most respected coaches, the winningest coach in the NBA, Greg Popovich, who in 2010 said to Slam magazine, you know, an interview that he did there, he said, you know, there's nothing that kind of determines the NBA champions being world champions, because they're not playing anyone outside of their borders. You know, Greg Popovich said it, and you know, this is a guy who, when he speaks, most people listen to in the NBA, and I totally agree with him on that point. Like I said, so Evan Fournier said what he said, and like coming back to some of the comments, and you know, some of the harsh comments that were, you know, labeled towards Noah Lyles. You know, we had Stephen A. Smith, you know, prominent ESPN analyst, who came out and initially said, you know, the comments were a little bit ignorant, and he had to be kind of taken aback and reverse course on that comment because, you know, he said he spoke to, you know, an active friend of his who had to kind of sit him down and educate him on the fact that, you know, listen, you know, these guys are not playing with flags. You know, they're playing for an NBA championship, and he had to kind of reverse course and realize, you know, that's not what it is. One of the comments that really saddened me, and I want to kind of pick up on this, was Aaron Gordon in one of the tweets that kind of went back and forth after Kevin Durant had said, you know, this brother needs help. You know, Aaron Gordon, recent NBA champ, of course, he's feeling himself a little bit. You know, he's now finally a champion. Said, you know, he smoked Noah Lyles in a 200-meter dash. And it's like, dude, come on, you play basketball. And that's not to say that, you know, he's not a great basketball player and isn't fast. But this guy, Noah Lyles, trains for track. You know, his body is built for explosiveness within those distances. And you thinking that you could just come off a basketball court and race this guy is totally ignorant himself. So, you know, coming back to what you said, you know, it's dismissive. It was a bit rude and everything, like we said. And yeah, it's just really amazing to see what's going on. FIBA itself, you know, the world governing body for basketball, you know, has its calculations that only includes global competitions, whether it be the World Cup, the Olympics, or intercontinental types of matches, and that's what they use to calculate the rankings. And lo and behold, America right now is second in the world. You know, so where we talk about world champs right now in this World Cup, they need to prove themselves and kind of get that ranking back up to number one in the world. So yeah, there's a lot to prove on the Americans. You know, right now they're playing really well. Anthony Edwards, Paolo Banchero, Austin Reeves are playing really good in the World Cup right now. If they get gold, they will overtake Spain and become number one. But right now, like you said, Lance, you know, this is the best league in the world. So people will automatically think, you know, once you win a championship in that, you would actually be the world champions for that. But that's not how it works technically. You have to kind of look behind everything and understand what the nuances and differences are to kind of make that point.
Right, and you know, Alister, based on what we do, we always try to find different angles, look at things from everybody's side. And for me, I feel like I want to give some slack to the basketballers right now who, of course, responded to Noah Lyles, right? And I'm thinking about it from the point that they didn't come up with the competition. In their mind, this is somebody talking about our territory, you know, our sport that, of course, makes us money. It's something that we live by and we love. So they're responding to that. I think the world champion title has a lot more to do with those at the helm and, of course, those making the decision and coming up with that title. What say you?
And yeah, I think that's a good point. And of course, they're being a bit defensive, rightfully, of the league that they're in. You know,
it's like somebody talking about the zone. Of course, I'm going to have lots of responses to that.
Fair enough, fair enough. You know, I totally agree, and I will do the same, of course, as a participating member of the zone. But, you know, these guys, you know, they're definitely playing within this league that has given them everything, given them the fame, the fortune, and everything that they do. And, of course, the world players aspire to be in the NBA, and they leave the Spanish leagues and the French leagues and everything and want to be in the NBA. So the complement of talent and combination of talent from around the world suggests that we have the best talent in the world. So whoever wins the championship are, you know, the world champions. But, you know, this is not how it works by definition within the FIBA rules. So totally get your point. You know, they're being, you know, defensive of that. You know, they have every right to be. But we have to kind of separate our emotions from some of these conversations sometimes, the NBA players, that is, and kind of understand what's really at stake here. You know, there's more than just America in this world. There's a little bit of geopolitical stuff going on here as well. Yes. America being superpower and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, there's more to it than that. And there's more than America. And that's what I think Noah Lyles was just trying to reach out to.
All I want to say, Alister, and the point was made during Monday's show as well, that simply you don't hear those in England saying that Manchester City is the champion of the world because they have won the Premier League. You don't hear Barcelona saying they're champions of the world because they have won La Liga. And those are two of the very best football leagues the world has to offer. I think what is very clear here, and is part of what Noah Lyles was getting to, and it's not just basketball. Yes, he used basketball as an example, But the Americans have a way, for example, with baseball, the World Series of baseball. It's America and one city in Canada. How do you become the World Series?
Well, the World Series, it becomes the World Series because the only other league is probably in Japan and one little minor league here in the UK. So they have the biggest league, so obviously it's the World Series.
But
so
it's not. But it's still not, Alister. So even if you are the best, it is not.
It doesn't mean.
So in Jamaica, we should start calling Kingston College and Edwin Allen World High School Track and Field champions because we have the best high school athletes competing over 5 days. To me, it just does not make any sense. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why these NBA players cannot get something as simple as this. You are not world champions. Maybe you can argue that the NBA winner might be the best team in the world. We could have that conversation. But that in and of itself does not make you world champions. And for some reason, they can't seem to get that. But you have put it together well, Alister. You know, I was actually setting up for you to come on this show today and disagree with Noah Lyles. When you agreed with Noah Lyles, I was like, we need a new NBA analyst.
Listen, I'm a very sensible young man and I try my best to be very objective, and that's what it is. But to kind of just add to your point really quickly, I think football has the history behind it where, you know, the different competitions are kind of tiered. I think the World Cup is right there at the top, and then you have, you know, the different leagues doing, you know, having their different competitions. I'm not well versed in football enough to kind of talk about it in that way, but I think they're very distinct layers and tiers where it comes to football competitions and the prestige. So I think that's just kind of inherent within football, and people accept that the World Cup is what determines who are the best in the world. The NBA is slightly different. You know, the World Cup is only like a recent thing, and the NBA was always what people wanted to look towards as being the best, or who determines who are the best in the world. So I think they're kind of going based on that, on history, where the two sports are concerned as well. But now, you know, I come at it objectively, Ricky. This is not a Lakers thing. You know,
it's too early. Alister, it's too early. It's too early. We're still some time away from the start of the NBA. Don't go there.
56 days left to be exact. I'm counting down.
Lance and Maria, please take it away, because I don't want to start talking about this whole Lakers thing and who is biased from who isn't biased.
Let's say thanks to Alister. We welcome your intervention in this issue, because it started from yesterday, and of course globally you can see it's still making the rounds on social media. But thanks, Alister, for putting some clarity to the discussion.
And Alister, I'm also glad to hear that Stephen A. Smith backtracked on what I heard him say this morning. I would use a descriptor, but like I said yesterday, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to use those descriptors on this show.
You're not. Let's go. Bye, Alister. Thank you.
Bye, Alister. So did he withdraw his criticism of Noah Lyles calling him ignorant? Because he said that.
Yes, so I think that's what Alister was saying, that he backtracked on it. I did not hear the reversal.
What part of it he backtracked.
I want to check it. We'll check it.
Yeah.
Good to know. Break time.
Okay.